Number 13, Kevin Durant.
Regular season, what's it look like? 6-time first-team All-NBA, 4-time second-team All-NBA. He's won 1 MVP. He's come in second place in MVP voting 3 times. He's been in the top 5 6 separate times. He's a 50, 40, 90 club guy. He's a 4-time scoring champ. He is tied to the 10th of a point with LeBron James in career points per game, second most of the last 50 years, behind only Michael Jordan. In the postseason, there's some lows, but a whole lot of highs. So he's a 2-time champion, obviously, a 2-time finals MVP, and a 4-time finalist. So let's go through it, because Kevin Durant, much like LeBron, basically kicked ass in the playoffs as a child and never stopped. 2010, first series of his career, down 0-2 to the 2010 Lakers, who obviously would go on to win the title. He throws up a 29, 19, and 4. Averaged 25 and 8 for the first series of his life. He's 20 years old when he does this. They lost in 6 to the Lakers, who would go on to win the title. 2011. Again, it's his second playoff series ever. 41 points to open the playoffs, and then 41 points to close round 1 and knock Denver out for his first career series win. Averaged 32 points per game for the series. In the next round, 39 and 9 in Game 6 against Memphis to advance to the Western Conference Finals. Or Game 7 against Memphis, pardon me. Again, was he 21 years old? To the conference finals. In his first career Western Conference Finals game, scores 40. Averaged 28 and 9 in those Western Conference Finals, but that was against Apex Dirk. We talked about Dirk in that series, had the 48-point on 15 shot game. They end up losing to Dirk in 6 games that year, but he's 22 years old. 2012, or he's 20, yeah, it's 22 years old. 2012, Kevin Durant, round 1, sweeps the defending champion Dallas Mavericks out of the playoffs. Round 2, beats Kobe in 5. Western Conference Finals, brilliant the entire series. Averages for those Western Conference Finals, 30, 8, and 5. The Spurs, keep in mind, were up 2-0 in that series, had won, I think, the final 8 games of the regular season, then swept round 1, swept round 2, went up 2-0. They were on something like an 18-game winning streak. And then Durant, and people should go back and look at what Russ did in those Western Conference Finals, what Russ was doing. You know, at this really Russ from 12 to 15 in the playoffs, but that's neither here nor there. He was excellent. But the Thunder beat him 4 straight times. And then he gets to the finals as a kid against LeBron and the Heat. 34, 14, and 5. By the way, 34, 14, and 5 to get to the finals, playing all 48 minutes in Game 6 against the Spurs. Now he's in the finals. First finals game ever. 36, 8, and 4 in a win against LeBron. Averaged for the finals as a 23-year-old, 31 and 6 on 55% shooting. For the playoff run, 29, 7, and 4 on 52%. He's 23 years old. So then the next year, though, Russ gets hurt. That's when Beverly runs into him. They lose in round 2 to the Grizzlies. Durant's excellent, though. He's 31, 9, and 6 for the entire playoff run. 2014, averages 30 in round 1 against Memphis. Averages 33, 10, and 5 in round 2 against the Clippers, including an epic 39-point, 16-rebound, 5-assist game to eliminate the Clippers in 6 in the Western Conference semifinals. That was the best Lob City team. They beat them in 6, and Durant was sensational. But then in the Western Conference Finals, he was okay, not great. They lose to the Spurs. 2015, he's hurt. And this is where Durant's career gets a little complicated. 2016, down 2-1 to the Spurs. Has a 41-point game and then 37 and 9 in a clinching Game 6 to get back to the conference finals. Up 3-1 on the Warriors, the 73-win Warriors. Game 5. I was actually at this game in San Francisco. Durant scored 40. And in those final 3 games, 3 losses, Durant averaged 32 points per game. But it was on 39% from the field, 27% from 3. They blow a 3-1 lead. Then obviously he goes and joins Golden State. Now, no one can take any issue with what he did in Golden State. 32 and 11 in his first playoff game ever with the Warriors. averaged 35, 8, and 5 in the finals with the Warriors. Again, 35, 8, and 5 to win his first title on 56, 47, 93 splits. So forget 50, 40, 90. That was 55, 45, 90 for the finals. And of course, the huge three right over LeBron to essentially clinch his first title. The next year, the Warriors finally faced a little bit of adversity. Game 7, Western Conference Finals against Houston. Durant has 34, 5, and 5. And then in Game 3, the following year in the finals, the one game where the Cavs were trying to make it a series, they were never going to be able to make it a series after losing Game 1 the way they did, neither here nor there. Durant has 43, 13, and 7, and another series-clinching 3. Averages for these finals, 29, 11, and 8, on another 50, 40, 90 for the finals. So two finals MVPs, but everyone kind of feels uncomfortable about it, right? They run it back another year, though. 2019. You guys remember it's like, oh, are the Clippers solving Kevin Durant? He has the I'm Kevin Durant press conference and then immediately scores 45 and 50 and averages 41 the rest of the series. Scores 45 in Game 5 and 50 in Game 6. Had 46 in Game 3 against Houston in round 2. 2 games later, he hurts his calf. Was out until Game 5 of the finals. Had 11 points in 12 minutes of that Game 5 of the finals, then popped his Achilles. So then obviously he misses 2020. And then 2021, I don't want this postseason to be forgotten to history for KD. Because not only was I at a bunch of these games, but one of them was one of the finest basketball games anyone's ever played. Round 1 of 2021, he averages 33, 7, and 3 on 55, 50, 90 splits. Just looked so easy. In round 2, averaged 35, 11, and 5 in that series against Giannis. The one where Harden got hurt, then came back. Kyrie got hurt in Game 4, didn't come back. But he had 2 epic games. Game 7, which they lost, he had 48, 9, and 6, playing all 53 minutes, ran out of gas in overtime, foot on the line in what could have been an all-time NBA history shot at the end of regulation. Everyone remembers that. I really hope people don't forget Game 5. Because in my opinion, the 3 best basketball games any human being has played in the last, call it 10 years at a minimum, is LeBron's 51, 8, and 8 in Game 1 of the 2018 Finals, Giannis's 50 points to win the title, and Game 5 of Round 2, 2021 by Kevin Durant with no Kyrie, with a compromised James Harden, when he went 49 points, 17 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, playing all 48 minutes to essentially stay alive in that series. It felt like they then went on to lose the next 2. I told you what he did in Game 7. In his career, he has 71 30-point playoff games. That's the 6th most all time. He has 14 career 40-point playoff games. That's the 4th most all time. He has 29 points per game in the playoffs. That is the 4th best all time, behind only Michael, Luka, and Allen Iverson. I think he will move up slightly over the rest of his career. I'm not sure how much higher he can move up, and I think Giannis will pass him eventually. But the 13th greatest player of the last 50 years, one Kevin Durant. Let's have a caller chime in on Kevin Durant before we wrap up.
All right, Nick, it's Mina. Saw your list. Mostly good, except for the part where you had one of the greatest scorers of all time, Kevin Durant, ranked unreasonably low. I mean, don't get me wrong, Moses Malone, great career, back-to-back MVPs, but you really can't make a case for him over Durant unless you account for one statistic, which is the number of times KD has dunked on you on Twitter.
Oh, Mina, first of all, the wonderfully talented Mina Kimes, glad to see her on the podcast. There is no biases against Kevin Durant dunking on me on Twitter. I actually enjoy that quite a bit. Moses Malone, though, Mina spoiled it, so I will continue to spoil it. Moses Malone is going to lead off this list next week. Moses Malone was actually the inspiration for this list. If Isaiah Thomas is not the most underrated player in modern NBA history, then it's Moses Malone. Why Moses Malone deserves to be exactly where he is at number 12. We'll get into that next week as we continue the countdown of the 50 greatest players of the last 50 years on What's Right with Nick Wright. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show, and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.